were 1,400 farmers there in that hall. And John Anderson made the statement that at that time there was round about 20,000 family farms producing in Australia at that time. His statement was that 200 corporate farms would be able to produce the same amount of produce as all of those family farms. So what he was telling the 1,400 people in that hall, that when the National Party was finished with them, they would not own their farm. Luckily, he had 5 security guards, and they had to bundle him out a side door into a Commonwealth car to get him out of there. They were about to lynch him, and justifiably. So the National Party is as embedded in the one world government as the Liberal Party, the Labor Party, the Greens, the whole lot of them. They're the same wings on the same bird. Yeah.
And also something about Barnaby Joyce challenged you on this or something like that?
No.
So Barnaby Joyce, when we had a meeting with him while I was in Parliament, he superseded that, obviously, winding the clock forward from when Senator Harris was in Parliament, from the turn of the century, 2016, 16 years forward. He superseded that and said, why do we need family farms when 50 corporate farmers can produce everything that we need here in Australia? And that was the day I lost total disrespect for him. So, as you would.
And we got some farmers here. What do you guys reckon? Put you on the spot, man.
Well, my eyes have been opened. I'm a little bit concerned about what our government's pushing for. But yeah, my eyes have been opened. We all need to pay attention to what's happening right under our nose. Scary, very scary. We need to be very concerned. Very concerned.
And to keep the sheep, keep shipping the sheep.
Keep shipping the sheep.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, myself being a sheep producer would like to see that still be here.
Do you think they're attacking the Australian way of life, your livelihoods of the small farmer?
Yes. The whole lot. Property rights, everything. The way we do it. The way we're not allowed to do it. Just the way we do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting how, in recent times, the Dutch farmers were rebelling in France and Germany, Belgium. It seemed like this government bureaucracy, this globalism, was trying to crush the small farmer in a sense.
That is how it seems. Yes, that is how it seems.
And here we are in Western Australia.
Yes.
And the other elephant in the room is one that we're having real difficulty trying to get even people to believe us when we say that the latest issue coming from the UN is actually a process of an organised retreat. So what does that mean? That means, as Rod showed here today, that in Victoria the government is repossessing properties from people who are grazing cattle and everything on their properties, knowingly that they have already slotted those farms that they are repossessing to actually be occupied by Chinese interests who are going to start planting trees on the basis that trees supposedly actually provide or stabilise the oxygen in our atmosphere. Well, they must be asleep or stupid, because yes, a tree when it's growing does actually photosynthesize carbon into the tree itself and then releases the oxygen. There's only one problem. That can only happen while the sun is shining. When the sun goes down, the same tree then extracts oxygen out of the atmosphere to stay alive. The thing that actually balances and keeps the earth, the atmosphere stable is actually the ocean itself. And it is the actual movement of the waves on the surface that actually releases the oxygen. So how does it do that? Well, in actuality, it's quite intriguing that it is actually the erosion off the land going down out, being carried by the rivers out to what they call the lagoons, and the erosion invariably has a certain percent of phosphorus in it. So the sunlight going down through the salt water onto the phosphorus actually creates algae. And the algae then works its way up to the surface and releases, and the waves release the oxygen. How is the control carried out? Well, if there is too much algae coming up off of the phosphorus into the upper areas of the ocean, then the sunlight can't get down to actually renew more algae. And that is what keeps the balance of oxygen in our environment. So yes, trees are necessary. They're good to look at. They provide shade for all of us, but they do not control or provide the oxygen for the atmosphere. So the interesting thing is that this situation of plant more trees, etc. Yes, it's great for beautifying. Yes, it does, while a tree is only in its initial growth phase. Once it's fully grown, doesn't help us with oxygen.
So we keep old growth forest for that purpose, do we?
Yes, yeah.
Doing nothing.
In actuality, there was some research done by CSIRO in Queensland in the Brigalow areas. And they used what they call a herringbone process. So they would clear a 1 acre area that would have plant grass on it, and then on all four sides of that there would be natural brigalow. So then they kept on over thousands of acres. The university students assisted in this. They went out annually and actually picked up all of the leaf and foliage and everything, and at the same time the grass areas were actually being harvested as well. And the finding from that scientific assessment found its way into a round filing bin, because in actuality the grasses actually sequestered 8 times the amount of carbon into the grass as what the brigalow scrub was. So the answer to that, if you want to save the planet, plant more grass.
Crops are going to do the same.